Escape means death. You don't just leave North Korea, you disappear. No goodbye, no warning, no second chance. Because the moment you decide to escape, your life is already at risk. During the 1990s famine known as the Arduous March, an estimated 240,000 to over 3 million people died. And when people reach that point, fear stops mattering. Survival takes over. That's when many tried to escape. But escaping isn't running. It's choosing between dangers. Some move at night. Some avoid surveillance. Some carry poison. Not for enemies, for themselves. Because being captured can mean interrogation, labor camps, or worse. Most tried to cross the 1,334 kilometers border into China, but that border isn't just a line. It's guarded. Warders, shoot to kill, even if you avoid soldiers. There are landmines, sensors, patrols, and then the river, frozen, unstable. In October 2003, at least 56 bodies were pulled from the Yalu River. People who were just one crossing away from escape. But even crossing doesn't mean safety. Escaping one system doesn't mean you've escaped danger. Surviving outside is still a nightmare. You made it across, you're alive, but now, you don't legally exist. In China, North Koreans are not refugees. They are illegal migrants. If caught, they are sent back. And being sent back can mean execution, imprisonment, forced labor. So they hide. Estimates suggest 100,000 to 200,000 people are living this way. Low-paying jobs, underground networks, constant fear. Many continue traveling south, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, trying to reach South Korea. The journey can cost 3 to 5 million won, which is $2,000 to $3,700. And for women, it's even more dangerous. Over 70% report abuse during escape. So even outside, the danger doesn't end. What does freedom mean if you're still hiding? The pleasure squad. Now imagine the opposite. You're not escaping. You're selected, taken from school. Your parents are told it's an honor. But what actually happens is something very different. A system known as DONJU, often called the pleasure squad, at its peak. Over 2,000 young women were involved. Most under 20, they were selected through strict screening, appearance, health, background. Then taken to the capital, cut off from their families. They were trained for months, not just performance, but behavior, speech, obedience. They were divided into groups: music and dance performers, official event attendants, private service roles for high officials. They were not individuals, they were assets. At around age 25, they were dismissed. Given about $4,000, expected to stay silent. Some were reassigned to officials. Some married into elite circles, but none chose their life. Imagine your entire life decided before you understand it. The insider, MIHYANG. For years, almost nothing was confirmed. Until one woman spoke, a former member known as MIHYANG. She described the system clearly. Each year only 30 to 40 girls were selected nationwide. They were sent to Pyongyang, trained for 6 months. Eventually, she met the leader, and something broke inside her understanding. The person she was taught to see as extraordinary looked completely ordinary. That realization alone destroyed years of conditioning. But nothing changed. She still had to serve. For up to 10 years, no contact with her family. Then one day, her family was accused of treason, and in this system, punishment spreads. Her entire family was sentenced to death. She was supposed to die too, but she survived and escaped. Sometimes the truth doesn't free you, it puts you in danger. Secret life of the elite. While most struggle, a completely different world exists. Private banquets, twice a week, guests were required to drink. Then the night began. Music, games, control. Even high-ranking officials weren't safe from the games. Kim Jong-il reportedly owned 10,000 bottles of wine. He spent about $700,000 a year on Hennessy. Food came from around the world: Iranian caviar, Japanese sashimi, luxury meats. All while outside, people struggled to eat. Two realities, same country, how can two worlds never touch each other? A families see escape. In 2023, a rare escape happened. A man, Mr. Kim, spent over 10 years planning it. For his entire family, his pregnant wife and 2 children, his mother, his brother, his brother's family, even his father's ashes. They lived near the coast. He studied patrols, fishing routes, minefields. Then one night, they moved. Storm, low visibility. They crossed a mined area, reached a boat. Children were given sleeping pills and hidden in sacks. And they left around 10 p.m. Another vessel appeared, but did not stop them. After nearly 2 hours, they saw land. South Korea. They made it. But survival didn't end there. It only began. Hunger as control. The famine of the 1990s never ended. Between 2016 and 2020, over 70% of defectors said they never received food rations. More than half were never paid wages. Then COVID-19 hit. Borders closed. Trade stopped. People begged for food. Some breaking restrictions were punished for it. Others were found dead. Even leadership described it as the worst ever. Hunger here is not just survival. It becomes control. When survival depends on the system, resistance disappears. The ant traders. But people adapt. Around 94% of defectors relied on underground markets, illegal markets. They call themselves ant traders, small, quiet, constant movement. They sell everything: food, clothes, medicine. Women often lead this system, paying bribes, taking risks, losing profits just to survive. Without them, many families wouldn't survive. The mosquitoes. Control extends everywhere. New enforcement units appeared. People call them mosquitoes. They stop anyone. Check phones, question behavior, even worse. Phones can be altered to take screenshots and report activity. In 2020, watching foreign media became a serious crime. By 2024, reports claimed even students were executed for it. Weekly meetings force people to confess mistakes and report others. Trust disappears completely. And without trust, resistance becomes impossible. The DONJU, the 1%. Inside all of this, a hidden class exists, the DONJU, the money controllers, only about 1% of the population. They didn't start as elites, they emerged during collapse. In the 1960s, some returned from Japan with money. Later, families received support from abroad. Then the 1990s famine changed everything. The state system collapsed, people had to survive alone. And the DONJU adapted fastest. They became intermediaries, running trade, lending money, controlling markets. In a country without banks, they became the financial system. Today they fund construction, invest in infrastructure, support government projects. They access foreign electronics, imported goods, private cars. But they are still inside the system, same risks, same control, because here, money doesn't equal freedom. Are they powerful? Or just more comfortable inside the same cage? The return of female hell. For a moment, it seemed like it ended. After Kim Jong-il died, the system quietly stopped. People thought it was over, but it wasn't. After 3 years, it returned, silently. No announcement, no explanation, just restarted. Thousands apply, only about 1% are chosen. Young girls, carefully screened, they are given titles, status, sometimes called officers. But behind it, the system is even more hidden now. Reports described more luxury, more control, more isolation, private gatherings, imported goods. Millions spent. Outside, people struggle to survive. But inside, 2 realities, same country, and the most disturbing part. To the outside world, this barely exists at all. No confirmation, no transparency, just fragments, stories, and the voices of those who escaped. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for similar ones next.